Part 86. From the City to the Strongest in the Universe. Author, G. Difeng Ren. Chapter 851. After more than 700 years, Li Yang was only one step away from the 100th step of the talent ladder. According to Taoist Tianxu, there were only 99 secret patterns, so Li Yang only had the last 2 secret patterns to crack. At this time, the second place Lord Yuheng had only reached the 43rd talent ladder. 43 steps, 98 steps. The gap is simply unimaginable. You know, the more you go back, the more difficult the secret patterns on the talent ladder are. It takes more and more time to crack. The difficulty of the last 10 steps may be equivalent to the difficulty of the first 40 steps. Human Li Yang is only 2 steps away from the 100th talent ladder. If he passes these 2 steps, he can get the inheritance. This speed is too fast. All the inheritors are the top masters of the universe. They have such strong talents and understanding, but they are crushed by human Li Yang. At this time, many inheritors and talent ladders, billions of races in the universe looked at the young man at the highest step, with shock in their eyes that could not be concealed. The masters of the universe, the entire universe is not many, and these masters competing for inheritance are the most amazing talents. It can be said that the more than 400 inheritors in front of them are the most talented and understanding masters in this universe. However, all the inheritors were crushed by Li Yang, which is simply impossible. While everyone was discussing, a few years later, Li Yang took another step. The 99th talent ladder. The last step. Human Li Yang is about to get the inheritance. Li Yang, who took another step forward, caused everyone's discussion again. At this time, Taoist Tianxu, who had only opened his eyes when he stepped on the corresponding 20 talent ladders, 40 talent ladders, etc., opened his eyes again. He looked at Li Yang, and there seemed to be a strange look in his eyes. Look, Taoist Tianxu appeared again. What's going on? No one has stepped on the 40 talent ladders now. The strong men were very confused. Taoist Tianxu would only appear when the inheritor stepped on a specific talent ladder and could obtain the peak holy weapon, but now, it was obviously not the case. Under their puzzled eyes, Taoist Tianxu looked at Li Yang. Li Yang. Hearing Taoist Tianxu calling him, Li Yang was also a little confused, not knowing what Taoist Tianxu meant. Taoist Tianxu had a sigh on his face. In less than 800 years, 99 talent ladders, such a talent, there have not been many people in my Kaishan sect for endless years. I didn't expect that there would be one in this universe. This is a blessing for my Kaishan section. You, Li Yang, are also qualified to join my Kaishan section, Taoist Tianxu said. Hearing this, many powerful people's faces suddenly changed. Taoist Tianxu praised Li Yang so much. Is he going to pass on the inheritance directly to Li Yang? Join Kaishan sect. Hearing this, Li Yang's heart moved. He also thought, is Taoist Tianxu going to pass on the inheritance directly to himself? In addition, Li Yang also secretly thought in his heart, does Kaishan sect still exist now? Hearing Taoist Tianxu's words, he always felt that Kaishan sect seemed to have not disappeared and has always existed. Since there is a successor like you, my mission is also perfectly completed. While everyone's face changed, Taoist Tianxu continued, originally, in addition to the talent ladder, I also set up some other tests and prepared some other peak holy artifact rewards, but your results made me prepare to cancel all those tests. You, as long as you step on the 100th talent ladder, the inheritance of my Kaishan sect will belong to you. In addition, the inheritance will end directly, and all the remaining peak holy artifacts will belong to you. Boom. After Taoist Tianxu finished speaking, it immediately caused a huge sensation. As long as human Li Yang steps on the 100th talent ladder, the inheritance will end directly. All the remaining treasures will belong to human Li Yang. Taoist Tianxu has prepared other tests, and there are also peak holy artifact rewards, but now it is cancelled. Damn it, according to the speed of human Li Yang's comprehension, it will be over in a few years at most. Wait a few years, we will get nothing. The faces of the strong people of each tribe and force suddenly changed, and they all became very ugly. For example, on the side of the Universe Powerful Alliance, although Lord Yu Heng is only on the 40th ladder, he is the second. At this time, Lord Yu Heng has already obtained 4 peak holy artifacts. Even if Li Yang is far ahead, Lord Yu Heng's second prize will not change. If nothing unexpected happens next, he will climb the 60th and 80th ladders and get 4 peak holy artifacts. However, if Li Yang climbs the 100th talent ladder, then the inheritance will end directly, and Lord Yu Heng will not have the opportunity to get the remaining treasures. Not only Lord Yu Heng can't get it, but no other strong man can get it. The total of 20 peak holy artifacts on the 60th and 80th steps will all belong to Li Yang. Adding the 10 that Li Yang got before, the entire human race is equivalent to getting 30 peak holy artifacts. You work hard. Taoist Tianxu looked at Li Yang and said, I believe you will become one of the best disciples of my Caishan sect in the future. Many tribes and powerful people looked unhappy, but when Li Yang heard this, he showed joy in his eyes. Get the inheritance directly? There are still many peak holy artifacts left. At this time, he can reach the 100 talent ladders in a few years at most. And now, the second place Yu Heng Lord is still on the 40-odd ladders. It is impossible for him to reach the 60th ladder in a few years. Then all the treasures of the 60th talent ladder will belong to him. So many peak holy artifacts are enough to arm all his clones. I will definitely work hard. Looking at Taoist Tianxu, Li Yang said with a little respect. Retracting his consciousness, Li Yang looked at the secret pattern in front of him. Haha, the process is much smoother than I thought. Li Yang had a smile on his face. 700 years, in the blink of an eye, he has been on the talent ladder for more than 700 years. This is something Li Yang did not expect. Before, he thought that the inheritance would end at most 100 or 200 years. But he underestimated the difficulty of those secret patterns. In fact, if he hadn't been there, according to the speed of Lord Caishan and Lord Yu Heng, it is estimated that this inheritance competition would have lasted at least thousands of years. But now, the entire inheritance is only one step away from Li Yang. Start cracking. Without thinking any more, Li Yang's consciousness completely sank into the last secret pattern in front of him. Thanks to 08 for the 100 reward, thank you. From the city to the strongest in the universe. Author, G. Difeng Ren. Chapter 852. Li Yang stepped onto the 99th ladder of talent, causing Taoist Tianxu to speak. Taoist Tianxu's words undoubtedly made the entire human race excited. Haha, Li Yang is about to receive the inheritance. The remaining pinnacle sacred weapons belong to our human race. 30 pinnacle sacred weapons. It's all Li Yang who's awesome. When the inheritance is over, the overall strength of our human race will greatly increase. The rulers of the human race were extremely excited. In the past, the human race had only a few peak holy weapons in total, so the strong human race members used them sparingly. For example, when the chaotic origin ancestor goes out, he will basically take out everything that can be used, and even less will be left. Even the Galaxy Lord, the pinnacle ruler of the human race, will probably only take 1 or 2 pinnacle holy weapons with him when he goes out. Just like last time, the Lord of the Galaxy came to Li Yang specifically to borrow the Golden Joe Wings, the pinnacle speed sacred weapon. And now, Li Yang has obtained so many pinnacle sacred weapons all at once. From now on, when the top human race masters like the Galaxy Master and others go out, they will at least be able to carry several of them, equipped with attack, defense, and speed. Equipped with this 3-piece set of pinnacle holy weapons, he will definitely be the invincible powerhouse among the dominators. Compared to the excited human race, the expressions of other ethnic groups and forces were extremely ugly. In the demon camp, the ancestor of the blood dove looked gloomy. From the expected 20 pinnacle sacred weapons, to 8 pinnacle sacred weapons, to 4 pinnacle sacred weapons, and now to 2. The harvest of their demon clan is constantly decreasing. Although his face looked gloomy and did not change much, at this time, a trace of consciousness of the blood dove ancestor entered a strange space. Not just him, there are other consciousnesses of other founders in this space at this time. The golden ancestor of the metal clan, the mixed blue ancestor of the alliance of strong men in the universe, and so on. Except for the consciousness of Hunyuan ancestor of the human race, the consciousnesses of other founders of the world are actually gathered here. Jin Mi, Han Lan, Taoist Tianxu has already spoken. When human Li Yang steps onto the 100th talent ladder, the inheritance will end. Human Li Yang will directly receive the inheritance, as well as many peak sacred weapons. The ancestor of the blood dove said solemnly, "Those secret patterns test talent, understanding, etc. You have also seen the talent and understanding of human Li Yang. With such talent and understanding, it is estimated that it will not take long for human Li Yang to truly become the master, and even have the opportunity to become the founder of the world in the future. Master, to Li Yang, is indeed nothing, Li Yang will definitely become it." All the strong men present thought so. The key is the founder. At this time, the metal tribe's Jin Mi ancestor said, "I agree with what the blood dove ancestor said. Human Li Yang has so many clones. Once he becomes the creation ancestor, he will be too terrifying. The entire universe cannot deal with it. The human race. To become the founder of the world, you can use your clone. But there is a premise for this, that is, there can only be a clone before the founder of the world. And after truly becoming the founder of the world, even if you get rare special gods like the world tree that can give birth to clones, you will not be able to give birth to clones, and it is impossible to give birth to one more founder of the ancestor. In the entire universe, there are only about 20 founders in total, and not one of them has a clone. There is actually a reason for this. Just like the tribe of fire beasts who are born as gods, the possibility of breaking through and becoming an emperor is extremely small. The universe is fair. For a master with a clone to break through and become the founder of the world, the difficulty is much higher than the normal breakthrough. Li Yang has so many clones. After becoming a master in the future, the difficulty of breaking through to become the founder of the world is expected to skyrocket, and may even be 10 times more difficult than other masters. However, Li Yang's talent is too strong. He has climbed the 99 talent ladders, while the other strongest masters have only climbed the 40 ladders. This gap, if not 10 times, is at least 5 times more. It is entirely possible that Li Yang will become the founder of the world in the future. Once Li Yang becomes the founder of the world, his body plus clones, and the fighting power of the 7 founders, then the strength of the entire human race. Li Yang is still at the emperor level now, so he is easier to kill. When Li Yang becomes the master, the difficulty of killing him will skyrocket again. And now, there is undoubtedly an opportunity right in front of us. The ancestor of the universe powerful alliance said, "I agree to deal with human Li Yang. If it succeeds, I must get a complete share of the inheritance that Li Yang received." The ancestor of the mixed blue is a special life, and becoming the leader of the alliance of powerful men in the universe is just a matter of interest. He cares most about that inheritance. If it was about the inheritance of cultivation, he would definitely get it. The consciousnesses of the founders of the world gathered together, and they were actually preparing to deal with Li Yang. The key is that the talent Li Yang showed is so terrifying that no force wants Li Yang to continue to grow. Since everyone agrees, it's confirmed. The ancestor of the blood dove said in a deep voice, "Human Li Yang's main body and 6 clones are here this time. Maybe his main body and clones have all arrived here. As long as we kill human Li Yang, we might be able to kill him completely. Here, our 12 founding ancestors, plus many masters, can completely entangle the ancestors of the Hunyuan of the human race. Li Yang, even though his strength is good, even a second-level master can defeat him. A top master can even catch him. In front of us, he has no power to resist. Even if he had made some progress before, he couldn't have made much progress. The human race's Hunyuan ancestor is powerful, but it is impossible for him to be so powerful that we can't deal with him. If we work together, we will definitely be able to completely kill the human Li Yang. The strength that Li Yang showed in the Star Desert before was only slightly stronger than that of an ordinary master. A master of the second tier can suppress Li Yang, but he can't kill him. And Li Yang is still in the realm of the Emperor. If he doesn't break through the Great Realm, Li Yang's strength can't make any greater progress. They, the top powerhouses in the universe, can't kill Li Yang? All the creation ancestors nodded. Blood Dove, let's act according to the plan. No matter what, we must kill the human Li Yang's body and clones here. Even if the Hunyuan ancestor protected the human Li Yang, they have so many creation ancestors, and the means they have are unimaginable. Even if Li Yang hides in a treasure with space attributes, their attacks can still enter, and soul attacks can also enter. If they completely entangle the Hunyuan ancestor, then Li Yang's body and clones will definitely all die. This is their confidence. Unless Li Yang has other clones. However, 6 clones are already unimaginable, and it is likely that all of Li Yang's clones have come here. They also hope that all of Li Yang's clones are here. In this case, killing Li Yang is equivalent to killing him completely. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. From the City to the Strongest in the Universe. Author, G. Difeng Ren. Chapter 853. The founders of the universe quickly made plans to kill Li Yang. Finally, the Blood Dove ancestor said, "The plan is confirmed. The next step is to wait. Wait for human Li Yang to leave the talent ladder. That's when we can act." Almost all the tribes and forces took action and joined forces to kill an emperor. This has never happened in the entire universe. Many powerful people were discussing, and Li Yang was still cracking it at ease. 1 year, 2 years. As time passed, the billions of tribes in the universe seemed to be quiet at this time, waiting for the figure on the ladder. On the 40th step, there were still 2 peak holy artifacts. Li Yang got 5, Yu Hung Lord got 2, and Kuishan Lord got 1. As for the 4th place, it was still on the 40th step and had not been cracked. Hurry, crack it quickly. The 4th place was the Liming Lord of the Metal Clan. At this time, Lord Liming felt that he only needed 1 hour to crack the secret pattern in front of him, and then he could choose a peak holy weapon. No wonder he was anxious. According to the time calculation, Li Yang would soon crack the 99th secret pattern. If Li Yang cracked it, he would not be able to get the peak holy weapon. Faster, Lord Liming was anxious. The progress of the secret pattern in front of him continued to shorten. 1 hour, half an hour, 10 minutes, 5 minutes. In a blink of an eye, there was only the last minute left. Lord Liming had completely figured out the mystery of the secret pattern in front of him. It was like a question. He had already understood it clearly and had it in mind. All that was left was to write down the answer. Lord Liming did this. His consciousness guided the broken pattern and began the last step. While guiding, Li Yang, who had been sitting on the 99th talent ladder and had been motionless for several years, suddenly moved. Lord Liming had been paying attention to Li Yang with a little thought. When he saw Li Yang move, his face suddenly changed. Not good. Then, under his gaze, Li Yang took a step forward and stepped onto the 100th talent ladder. Buzz. The secret pattern in front of him seemed to be fixed and could no longer change. The cracking process of his Lord Li Ming was also interrupted directly. Almost. Lord Li Ming's face suddenly showed great rage, and his face looked extremely ferocious under the rage. Damn human Li Yang! It was only 1 minute away. If he was given another minute, he could crack the secret pattern on the 40th talent ladder. In this way, a peak holy weapon would be in hand. But if Li Yang succeeded, all the remaining treasures would have nothing to do with him. Buzz. There were huge changes on the talent ladder. Many inheritors paid attention to Li Yang, but some did not pay attention, but also forcibly stopped the cracking. What's going on? Human Li Yang stepped onto the 100th talent ladder. At this time, all the inheritors' faces changed, and they all looked at the highest ladder and saw the figure of the young man at the highest level. Then, the extremely cold voice of Taoist Tianxu was transmitted to the minds of all the inheritors. The inheritor of my Kaishan sect has appeared, and all other inheritors are eliminated. Swish. 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 The inheritors on the talent ladder felt that their bodies were out of control and were all moved out. In a blink of an eye, on the entire talent ladder, there were only human Li Yang and Taoist Tianxu. In addition, there were 2 light spots on the 40th step, and 20 light spots on the 60th and 80th steps. The inheritance is over. Human Li Yang got the inheritance. There are also 32 peak holy artifacts, all of which were obtained by human Li Yang. Damn it, how could he comprehend so quickly? All the strong men looked at the figure on the ladder, their faces were ugly, and their eyes were full of unwillingness. On the 100th talent ladder, Li Yang looked at Taoist Tianxu, who had stood up at this time, and said with a little respect, Taoist Tianxu. This level of existence, in Li Yang's guess, is likely to surpass the level of the ancestor of creation. After all, even the founder of the world can't do anything about this talent ladder. No need to be polite. Taoist Tianxu looked at Li Yang, and a rare smile appeared on his face. With the potential and talent you have shown, Li Yang, as long as you join my Kaishan sect in the future, your status will not be lower than mine. Join Kaishan sect. Hearing this, Li Yang was shocked. He couldn't help asking, Taoist Tianxu, I wonder where Kaishan sect is. No matter how he heard it, Li Yang felt that Kaishan sect has always existed. Haha, don't worry, Li Yang. The universe you are in now is extremely far away from my Kaishan section. Taoist Tianxu smiled and said, you just need to wait slowly. My Kaishan sect will come here one day, and then I can take you away. Seeing that Li Yang wanted to ask something, Taoist Tianxu smiled and said, Li Yang, don't ask more, you will naturally know these things later. Hearing what Taoist Tianxu said, Li Yang had to suppress the doubts in his heart. He thought to himself, it seems that Kaishan sect is in a very far place, maybe not even in our universe. Once, the Earth was out of touch with the outside world, and many people thought that the Earth was the only planet with life in the universe. But they didn't know that there were countless lives and countless strong people in the entire universe. Li Yang, look. Taoist Tianxu waved his hand, and then a strange little tower appeared in front of Li Yang. This small tower is divided into 5 floors. The entire small tower is black, and there are extremely complicated and ancient secret patterns carved on it. This is our Kaishan sect inheritance tower. It is divided into 5 floors. Each floor needs to meet certain conditions to enter, just like cracking the secret patterns on the stairs. As long as you complete the conditions, you can step onto the next level. High stairs. Taoist Tianxu smiled and said, and in each floor of the tower, there are corresponding weapons, secret books, etc. He handed the small black 5-story tower to Li Yang. You can successfully recognize the master by leaving a trace of soul imprint in the inheritance tower. Li Yang nodded, leaving a trace of his soul imprint on the small tower in front of him. Suddenly, he felt a slight connection with Xiota. Although there was a connection, Li Yang felt that his consciousness could only enter the first floor of the inheritance tower, and he could not enter the other 4 floors at all. It's strange. I have mastered the inheritance tower, but most places in the tower cannot be entered. Li Yang secretly said in his heart, look what's on the first floor. There was obviously a hint of expectation in Li Yang's eyes at this time. His consciousness quickly entered the first floor of the inheritance tower. The inheritance tower doesn't look big, but once you enter, it seems to be as big as a world. As soon as he entered, Li Yang's consciousness came to a place involuntarily. There was a huge red wing here, and there seemed to be flames burning on the entire wing, and he could feel the incomparable burning sensation in his consciousness. This is... Li Yang looked at the red wings with a hint of shock in his eyes. Then he reacted and his consciousness quickly came into contact with the inside of the red wings. Then, Li Yang felt a fluctuation, an extremely terrifying fluctuation. This fluctuation is no stranger to him. The supreme sacred artifact. Li Yang was shocked. Thanks to Zero Eta for the 100 tip, thank you. From the city to the strongest in the universe. Author, G. Difeng Ren. Chapter 854. Li Yang's eyes were filled with shock as he looked at the red wings in front of him. In this so-called inheritance left by the Caixin sect, there is actually a supreme sacred artifact. There are fewer supreme holy artifacts in the entire universe than the founding ancestor. The inheritance tower is like a world-like vast space. The red wings only occupy a small part of the area, but they completely attracted Li Yang's attention. He fully knows the content of weapons of this level. For example, if the human race, demon race, etc. have one more supreme holy weapon, it is completely equivalent to one more founder of the world. The human race and the demon race are tied as the 2 most powerful ethnic groups in the universe. In fact, in terms of true strength, the demon race is stronger. This is because the human race only has one supreme holy weapon, while the demon race has 2. Even if the chaotic origin ancestor is very powerful and can defeat any of the monster clan's founders, he still can't make up for the gap in that supreme holy weapon. And now, something appeared in front of Li Yang. After being shocked, Li Yang suddenly became excited again. The inheritance of Caixin sect belongs to him, and this supreme holy weapon also belongs to him. The supreme sacred artifact. Next to Li Yang, Taoist Tianxu did not refute when he heard the name. He smiled and said, Li Yang, this red wing is called the red gold wing. It is a speed treasure. As an inheritor, there should be corresponding treasure body protection. These red gold wings are used to protect the inheritors. When it comes to life-saving means, speed is often more important than defense. The inheritance tower is on the 5th floor. It is very difficult to enter a higher level, but as long as you enter, it means that the potential of the inheritor is higher, and the treasures inside will be more precious. Hearing what Taoist Tianxu said, Li Yang was moved in his heart and said, Taoist Tianxu, is there still a supreme holy weapon on the 2nd floor of the inheritance tower? There was obvious excitement in his eyes. There is a supreme holy weapon in the 1st floor of the inheritance tower space. The 2nd level's body protecting treasures are more precious than the 1st level's, and they are at least the supreme holy artifacts. The 5-story inheritance tower at least represents the 5 supreme sacred artifacts. Haha, you will naturally know these when you enter the 2nd level. Taoist Tianxu smiled and did not answer Li Yang's question. Without getting an answer, Li Yang's excitement did not diminish. At least, I got a supreme holy weapon in front of me. Coupled with the Kunlun mirror on his body, he already has 2 supreme holy weapons at this time. No, that mysterious little sword should be added. The level of the mysterious little sword is definitely not lower than that of the supreme sacred artifact. The power even suppressed the Kunlun mirror before. With joy in his heart, Li Yang ignored the red and gold wings and looked elsewhere. The huge space is full of secrets, which are densely packed and piled together. There are also many light balls, which store a lot of information. This is. Li Yang took a casual look, with a hint of surprise in his eyes. In the entire small tower, the information stored in secret books and light balls is about the laws of single systems, and more about the laws of fusion. Li Yang is now comprehending the three fusion laws of time and fire, darkness and thunder, and space and metal, and he quickly found the corresponding ones in those secret books. There are many secret books that provide extremely thorough analysis of the fusion laws of time, fire, etc. Previously, Li Yang practiced in the place where the law of fusion was inherited, so he naturally also referred to various secret books on the law of fusion of the human race. At this time, Li Yang felt that there was no comparability between the human race's fusion law secrets and the fusion law in the 5-story small tower in front of him. The clarity of this analysis was at least dozens of times improved. Surprised, Li Yang's eyes also lit up. This analysis is so clear. It even touched me in the slightest. Li Yang previously practiced in the place where the fusion law was inherited and made great progress. But after leaving there was also an inheritance of the law of fusion in the human race, but that inheritance basically had no impact on him, and it would be useless for him to stay for 10,000 years. But at this time, he realized the secrets and light balls in front of him. This touch is estimated to be equivalent to 1% of the effect of the fusion law inheritance ladder. Li Yang was excited. Heritage. This is definitely an unimaginably huge inheritance. With these extremely detailed fusion law analysis secrets, not only will his comprehension of the fusion law be greatly improved, but the understanding of the fusion law of the entire human race will also be greatly improved. After all, the human race's inheritance of the law of fusion is not perfect, and the effect is not even 1/10,000th of that of the place where the law of fusion is inherited. The inheritance tokens of the fusion law are extremely rare, which means that only a few people in the human race can benefit from the inheritance of the fusion law. In fact, starting from the gods, if you want to break through and become an emperor, you need to understand the law of fusion. If the emperor wants to make progress, he needs to continue to understand. However, they can only rely on the imperfect and ineffective inheritance of the fusion law of the human race to practice. You can imagine how difficult it is to break through. From this, we can deduce the content of the cheats and light balls in front of us. With these, the many gods and emperors of the human race are expected to understand the law of fusion much faster. After glancing at these fusion law secrets, Li Yang looked at the treasures in other places. In addition to the red gold wings of the supreme holy weapon and numerous secret books, there are also weapons one by one. However, these weapons are obviously not as good as the red and gold wings of the supreme holy weapon. 10 peak sacred weapons. Li Yang took a look. Although there are many pinnacle sacred weapons, Li Yang doesn't feel much in his heart. After all, he had obtained more than 30 pinnacle sacred weapons on the talent ladder before. In addition to these 10 top holy weapons, there are also many weapon models, as if the weapons were half-made, but stopped. And the fluctuations emitted by these half-made weapons are no less than those of top holy weapons. If they are fully made, these weapons will definitely reach the threshold of top holy weapons. There are so many. Li Yang was surprised. There are at least thousands of these weapon roughs. At this time, Tianxu Taoist waved his right hand, and all 22 top holy weapons on the talent ladder were taken back and appeared in the first floor space of the 7-story tower. Looking at Li Yang, Taoist Tianxu smiled and said, "Li Yang, our Caishan sect is not only powerful, but also proficient in the art of refining. In terms of the level of refining, our Caishan sect is the best in the entire chaotic universe. So, the inheritance is divided into 2 parts, one is about cultivation, and the other is about refining. In the inheritance tower, in addition to the secrets of cultivation, there is also very detailed information about refining. You can use these thousands of weapon roughs to practice. In terms of fluctuation, the weapon roughs are no less than the top holy weapons. At this time, when it comes to Taoist Tianxu, it is used for practice. If you can successfully perfect a weapon rough, then this weapon rough can also be directly transformed into a peak holy weapon. Li Yang took a look at the thousands of weapon roughs. If he can perfectly refine them in the subsequent process, he can get thousands of peak holy weapons at once. End of this chapter. From the City to the Strongest in the Universe. Author, Ji Difeng Ren. Chapter 855. This Kaishan sex handiwork is too big. Li Yang marveled in his heart. In the outside world, the pinnacle sacred weapon that was snatched away by the founders of the world seems not worth mentioning to the Kaishan sect. Writing this, I hope readers will remember our domain name Taiwan Novel Network Rightward Arrow. In addition, Taoist Tianxu looked at Li Yang and said with a smile, "The treasures in the Inheritance Tower are all helpful to you. In fact, the most critical treasure is the Inheritance Tower itself." The Inheritance Tower itself, Li Yang said nothing and listened carefully. Inheritance Tower, not only are there many inheritances inside, you can also stay in it all the time. As long as you stay in it, even the founders outside can't do anything to you, and you can leave calmly. There is nothing the founder of the world can do. Li Yang was shocked when he heard this. Treasures with space attributes are suitable for staying inside, but when the strength reaches an extremely strong level, all attack power, soul, etc. can penetrate into it. As for the space-attributed treasure that even the founder of the world can't do anything about, there is not even one in the entire universe. This is definitely equivalent to a supreme holy weapon. Okay, the inheritance has been handed over to you, and my mission is completed. There is a inheritance tower protecting Li Yang, and more than a dozen founders from the outside world, all powerful people, all join forces, but they can't do anything to Li Yang. Therefore, Taoist Tianxu is not worried about Li Yang's safety at all. He looked at Li Yang and smiled and said, "Li Yang, I look forward to our meeting again in the future." Taoist Tianxu was also direct without any nonsense. After saying the last sentence, his figure gradually faded and disappeared. Buzz. With the disappearance of Taoist Tianxu, the film covering the talent ladder is also slowly disappearing. Taoist Tianxu is really direct. Seeing this, Li Yang smiled. However, today's harvest is really great. Looking at the inheritance tower in his hand, Li Yang showed a bright smile on his face. The 5-story inheritance tower is only the first level. It is densely packed with inheritance secrets of the law of fusion, 10 pinnacle holy weapons, thousands of rough embryos of top holy weapons, and even the red gold wings of the supreme holy weapon. There are 4 more floors behind, and the treasures inside are no less than those on the first floor. The main body was talking to Taoist Tianxu before. At this time, Li Yang's clone had already stopped refining the essence and blood of the ancestor dragon, and had been in contact with the Hunyuan ancestor and the eternal ancestor. The eternal ancestor and the Hunyuan ancestor also didn't know what type of inheritance it was, so they kept waiting. Then, they saw a smile on Li Yang's face. "Li Yang, have you figured out the inheritance?" Seeing Li Yang like this, the eternal ancestor asked quickly. Hunyuan ancestor also quickly asked, "What kind of inheritance is it? Is it about cultivation?" Don't blame them for these expectations. The key is that the pinnacle holy weapons appearing on the talent ladder completely prove that this inheritance is extraordinary. In the past, the human race has also received inheritance, but there is no pinnacle holy weapon in the inheritance. Even if there is, it is only one, at most, it is a piece of top holy weapon. Li Yang smiled and said, "Hunyuan ancestor is right, it is about cultivation." He talked about the many inheritance secrets, inheritance light balls, etc. in the inheritance tower. Those fusion law secrets, light balls, etc., are equivalent to 1% of the effect of the place where the fusion law is inherited. Are there all kinds of fusion law secrets? After hearing what Li Yang said, the Eternal Ancestor and the Hunyuan Ancestor became excited. Hunyuan Ancestor said excitedly, "With this secret book, the number of emperors in our clan will inevitably increase dramatically, and some emperors can even become masters by relying on these inheritances. Only a very small number of people can enter the inheritance of the fusion law. However, if everyone can enter, then even if the talent is not top-notch, the probability of breaking through to a higher realm will be greatly increased. It can be said that if the place where the fusion law is inherited can be entered at will, then the number of emperors in the entire human race will not be 10,000, but at least 100,000. The number of human race masters can be increased by 1. But they are unable to enter and can only rely on themselves and the imperfect fusion rules of the human race to slowly understand. And now, the effect of the Kaishan sect inheritance is equivalent to 1% of the inheritance of the fusion law. You must know that there is a time limit for everyone to enter the place where the fusion law is inherited. It takes a long time before you can have a short time to enter. However, the Kaishan sect inheritance has no such restriction. All strong human beings can always comprehend. Relatively speaking, this effect is estimated to be 1/10 that of the place where the law of fusion is inherited. One can imagine how great this inheritance is for the human race. Li Yang, thanks to you this time. Hunyuan Ancestor looked at Li Yang and said seriously, "Our human race will surely rise, and you, Li Yang, will be our greatest contributor." The Eternal Ancestor's face was also full of smiles, excited about the upcoming rise of the human race. The two of them are the strongest people in the human race, and all their efforts are to make the human race stronger. Hunyuan, Li Yang has received the inheritance, and the most important thing is to return with the inheritance now. It is absolutely impossible for the ancestor of the demon clan Blood Dove and others to not take action. Maybe they have united together. Rest assured. Hunyuan Ancestor said confidently, "With the supreme sacred artifact Brilliant Galaxy, what can happen if the demon race Blood Dove Ancestor and more than a dozen creation ancestors unite together? They can't stop me from returning to the human race. The binding force of the Brilliant Galaxy, unless there is a speed-type supreme holy artifact, otherwise, their speed cannot match mine, only the Blood Dove Ancestor and others can hinder me. The Brilliant Galaxy is not a common treasure such as attack, defense, and speed. Its effect is more comprehensive, and its powerful binding ability is definitely a headache. Because with the assistance of this Brilliant Galaxy, the Hunyuan Ancestor will be faster, while the speed of other creation ancestors will slow down. In this case, in terms of speed, more than half of the creation ancestors are indeed not as fast as the Hunyuan Ancestor. As for Li Yang's safety, the Eternal Ancestor and the Hunyuan Ancestor are not worried. Li Yang has a world tree clone, and both of them know it. Therefore, after leaving the talent ladder, even if Li Yang's body and clone explode, he can be resurrected quickly. The one who really returned with the inheritance was the Hunyuan Ancestor. With the strength of the Hunyuan Ancestor, more than a dozen creation ancestors can't do anything to him. At most, they can slow him down. Hearing the Eternal Ancestor and the Hunyuan Ancestor talking excitedly, Li Yang smiled and said, "Teacher, Hunyuan Ancestor, I haven't finished yet." "Oh? Li Yang, is there anything else in the Kaishan sect's inheritance?" Upon hearing this, the Hunyuan Ancestor immediately asked with a smile. Under the gaze of the two, Li Yang nodded and said, "In addition to the inheritance of cultivation, this Kaishan sect is also a weapon refining force. In addition to the peak holy weapon, there is also a speed-related supreme holy weapon in the inheritance." Boom! After Li Yang's words fell, the Eternal Ancestor and the Creation Ancestor were both stunned, and then their eyes showed an extremely terrifying light. Thanks to Shunkaranza 2023 for the 1500 reward, and thanks to 08A for the 100 reward, thank you. End of this chapter. You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. From the City to the Strongest in the Universe. Author, G. Difeng Ren. Chapter 856. Hearing that there was a supreme holy weapon in the inheritance mentioned by Li Yang, the eternal ancestor and the creator ancestor were both stunned, and then an extremely terrifying light appeared in their eyes. Li Yang, are you serious? The Hunyuan ancestor said in a deep voice. Taiwan Novel Network Rightward arrow. He, the Hunyuan ancestor, is at the top among the creator ancestors, but the supreme holy weapon of the human race is an auxiliary treasure. The brilliant galaxy prevented him from truly exerting his strength perfectly, so he could not do anything to several creator ancestors, and even could not defeat them. Li Yang smiled and said, the supreme holy weapon is called the Red Gold Wings. After leaving the talent ladder, this supreme holy weapon will be given to you, the Hunyuan ancestor, to use. The first thought of Li Yang after getting the Red Gold Wings was indeed to give it to the Hunyuan ancestor to use. He has the Kaishan sect inheritance tower, so he is not worried about danger at all. As for the speed type supreme holy artifact, he couldn't mobilize much power at this time. Even if it was a peak holy artifact, he couldn't mobilize all the power. The key is that he also knows the current situation. Outside the talent ladder, more than a dozen founding ancestors are eyeing it covetously. He, Li Yang, has obtained the inheritance, and these founding ancestors can't have no idea at all. The Hunyuan ancestor can fully play the role of the Red Gold Wings. With the Red Gold Wings, the Hunyuan ancestor can deal with those dozen founding ancestors. Next to Li Yang, the eternal ancestor was shocked and surprised. He heard what Li Yang said and hurriedly said, the situation is urgent now. It's better to give the supreme holy artifact to the Hunyuan ancestor. The Hunyuan ancestor nodded and didn't refuse. He really lacked the supreme holy artifact and couldn't fully exert his strength. Li Yang, I will use the Red Gold Wings temporarily. After returning to the human race, I will return them to you. The potential shown by Li Yang at this time is enough for the Hunyuan ancestor to put him on an equal footing with him. Therefore, even if he used the supreme sacred artifact, he borrowed it from Li Yang temporarily. With this supreme sacred artifact of speed, I can easily deal with more than a dozen blood dove ancestors by myself. The eyes of the Hunyuan ancestor showed a confident light. With a fast speed, you can take the initiative in the battle. The strength of the Hunyuan ancestor was originally at the top of the universe. Now that he is activating the supreme sacred artifact of speed, his strength can be imagined. Haha, with this supreme sacred artifact of speed, this inheritance will definitely return to the human race safely, the eternal ancestor said happily. Li Yang, you will come back with Hunyuan. Those creation ancestors have many means. If you encounter any danger, you will explode directly. Li Yang's World Tree clone is still in the human race. The World Tree clone is fine. There is no problem for Li Yang's main body and other clones to explode again. Teacher, I know. Li Yang nodded. Li Yang's clone has been in contact with the eternal ancestor and the Hunyuan ancestor. The film on the talent ladder disappeared, and Li Yang's figure was completely exposed. At the moment when the film disappeared, Li Yang also joined the Hunyuan ancestor who had been in contact. Boom! 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 Throughout the area, extremely terrifying momentum waves burst out instantly, sweeping across the void. Human, hand over the inheritance. The creator ancestors shouted angrily. Everyone knew that the inheritance was already in Li Yang's hands, but no one knew what the inheritance was at this time. However, in this fight for inheritance, dozens of top holy artifacts appeared. Just this point alone, everyone knew that the inheritance was not ordinary. At this time, in front of the talent ladder, a large force gathered here. In fact, billions of eyes in the entire universe looked here. The demon race, the metal race and other races really united and prepared to deal with the human race. It's normal. The potential shown by human Li Yang is too great, and he has also obtained dozens of top holy artifacts, and even the unknown inheritance. These top races can't have no reaction at all. As expected, the battle was about to break out, and countless eyes looked over here. Boom! A huge river appeared around the Hunyuan ancestor, completely covering the surroundings. The starlight flickered on the river, and a huge binding force swept over. This binding force made even the creator feel a little uncomfortable. It's the brilliant galaxy, the supreme holy artifact of the human race. Humph! The eternal ancestor of the human race didn't come, so the brilliant galaxy must have been carried by the Hunyuan ancestor. The faces of the blood dove ancestor, the Hunlan ancestor, and others did not change much. The brilliant galaxy, they had already expected it. The Hunyuan ancestor protected Li Yang firmly behind him and said calmly, "Blood dove ancestor, what are you doing?" The blood dove ancestor looked at Li Yang with a cold gaze, then looked at the Hunyuan ancestor. "Hunyuan ancestor, I won't say much nonsense. For hundreds of years, all the inheritors have been competing. Of the 40 top holy artifacts, your human race has already obtained 32. We won't say much about this, but the inheritance, your human race must announce it. In fact, according to the plan made by the blood dove ancestor and others, killing Li Yang is the second choice, and the first choice is naturally to get the inheritance. Everyone knows what a powerful inheritance represents. In the past, the human race, the demon race, the metal race, etc., all relied on the heritage of the ruins, from weak to strong, and grew step by step to the present. As for Li Yang, after the inheritance is obtained, there will be plenty of opportunities to deal with the human Li Yang. They were worried that the inheritance would be taken by the Hunyuan ancestor. It was easy for them to kill Li Yang, but it was very difficult to get the inheritance from the Hunyuan ancestor. After speaking to the Hunyuan ancestor, the blood dove ancestor looked at Li Yang again and said coldly, "Human Li Yang, if you are willing to hand over the inheritance, our major forces can let you go." The blood dove ancestor had a cold face, and a crazy killing intent flashed in the depths of his eyes. Li Yang made him, the ancestor of creation, feel a huge threat. This threat is no less than that of the eternal ancestor and the Hunyuan ancestor of the human race. As soon as he got the inheritance, he would definitely take action against Li Yang. Hearing the words of the blood dove ancestor, Li Yang laughed and said, "Blood dove ancestor, this inheritance is fair and just. I, Li Yang, got it, so it belongs to me, Li Yang." A hint of sarcasm appeared in his eyes. "As for letting me go? Blood dove ancestor, you demons and even the major peak tribes have been hunting me down and issuing bounties. Now you want to let me go? I need you to let me go. As long as you dare to come, I will kill you one by one." Li Yang's face was full of sarcasm, and he was not afraid of the ancestor of creation. Hundreds of years have passed, and Li Yang's various clones have refined the blood of the ancestor dragon, and their strength has also been raised to the limit. Not only that, he has almost touched the threshold of the dominance realm. His original body is on the talent ladder, and other clones, especially the Saint Meteorite clone, have been practicing. At this time, Li Yang is only one step away from becoming a master. From the city to the strongest in the universe. Author, G. Difeng Ren. Chapter 857. Li Yang felt that he would be able to truly break through in 3 years at most. When he breaks through and becomes the master, relying on the soul pressure of the Kunlun mirror, Li Yang can be said to truly traverse the universe and never fear anything again. Even the ancestor of creation can no longer do anything to him. Arrogant human Li Yang. Do it. Since human Li Yang does not hand over the inheritance, then kill him. As Li Yang's words fell, a series of angry voices suddenly sounded in the void. Seeing that the first plan failed, The ancestor of creation immediately chose to take action. Li Yang, you enter my world space, the ancestor of Hunyuan said directly. Li Yang did not hesitate and nodded. More than a dozen ancestors of creation, although Li Yang was confident, he was not confident that he could compete with the ancestor of creation now. Li Yang's figure disappeared, not only Li Yang, but also other masters of the human race disappeared. In the entire void, except for the strong men from other races, there was only one ancestor left in the human race, Li Hunyuan. He faced more than a dozen founding ancestors and thousands of masters. Human Hunyuan, do you think one person can protect Li Yang and others? Attack! Human Li Yang and others must have entered the world space of the human race Hunyuan. Even if we can't kill the human race Hunyuan ancestor, we must kill all the masters in his world space. The founding ancestors said angrily. Arrogant. It's really too arrogant. Can a founding ancestor of the human race resist so many strong men present? Whoosh. 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 One after another terrifying attacks came, emitting extremely terrifying fluctuations. In one place, a huge phantom condensed, and a blood-red cloud suddenly appeared. In the red cloud, there were actually two scarlet eyes. A strong violent aura completely emanated from the cloud. That violent aura, like a substance, directly attacked the Hunyuan ancestor. An extremely ferocious shadow condensed. The shadow was like a giant god, with ferocious barbs all over its body. A pair of ferocious bone wings spread out from its back, covering the sky and the sun. Then the terrifying and ferocious shadow waved its right claw and grabbed the Hunyuan ancestor directly. One by one, the founders launched their most terrifying attacks. The void around the entire talent ladder was completely shattered, and the entire area instantly became like doomsday. There were more than a dozen founders, and there were only about 20 founders in the entire universe. Facing this attack, it is estimated that any of the founders would not dare to be careless. If they were not careful, they might be seriously injured. Too terrible. Is this the attack of the founder? I feel that any attack can kill me in seconds. The masters had already been far away at this time, looking at this side in horror. The battle between the founders is the most pinnacle battle in the universe. However, looking at these terrible attacks. At this time, the face of the Hunyuan ancestor was calm. Behind him, a pair of red wings flashed, and the violent light was avoided by him. The giant claws of the ferocious ancient god seemed to become slow and could not fall on him at all. The whole person of the Hunyuan ancestor kept shuttling through many terrible attacks, and those attacks could not fall on him at all. He attacked from time to time, but easily defeated the attacks one after another. What? How did the speed of the human race Hunyuan become faster? Our attack covered almost all the range, but it was avoided by the human race Hunyuan. This is impossible. Before, the founding ancestors had just fought for the supreme holy weapon in that chaotic land, and they were very familiar with the strength of the Hunyuan ancestor. And the speed shown by the Hunyuan ancestor just now was obviously much faster than before. Reaching the level of the founding ancestor, it is impossible for the strength of the Hunyuan ancestor to change so much in a short period of time. So there is only one possibility. The blood dove ancestor and others almost all looked at the red wings behind the Hunyuan ancestor. Supreme Holy Artifact. The red wings are the supreme holy artifact of speed. In addition to the brilliant Star River, the human race has a second supreme holy artifact. Impossible. A series of shocked and angry voices rang out. Especially the blood dove ancestor of the demon race, one of the 10 most powerful races in the universe. Before, only the demon race had 2 supreme holy artifacts, and before, the demon race also thought that they were the strongest in the universe. And now, the human race has also obtained it. The blood dove ancestor's face was gloomy. How is it possible? The human race has a second supreme holy artifact? Or a speed type 1? With such a treasure, the human race's Hunyuan ancestor would not have used it when he fought for the attack-type Supreme Holy Artifact in the Chaotic Land before. Not long ago, more than a dozen ancestors of the universe fought for the Supreme Holy Artifact in that Chaotic Land, and finally the Supreme Holy Artifact was obtained by the special life Huan Zuhal Master. In fact, at that time, the Hunyuan ancestor was just a little short of getting the Supreme Holy Artifact. If his speed was faster, like now, with the speed-type Supreme Holy Weapon, the Hunyuan ancestor should be able to get the attack-type Supreme Holy Weapon. But he didn't. So, not long ago, the human race definitely didn't have this Supreme Holy Weapon. Since there is no such thing, there is only one explanation. Inheritance. It must be the inheritance of Kaishan sect this time. The Blood Dove ancestor quickly judged it. Before the inheritance of Kaishan sect, 40 peak holy weapons appeared at once. With such a large amount of money, it is entirely possible that there is a supreme holy weapon in that inheritance. Not only the Blood Dove ancestor, but all the other ancestors thought of the reason at this time. It's the Kaishan sect inheritance. Damn it, there is a supreme sacred artifact in that inheritance. The creation ancestors said angrily. The supreme sacred artifact, there are about 20 creation ancestors in the universe, but there are only a dozen supreme sacred artifacts, which is not more than the number of creation ancestors. The 10 top tribes in the universe, such as the Metal Tribe, have no supreme sacred artifacts. And now, there is one in the Kaishan sect inheritance that just ended. It is worthy of being a speed-type supreme sacred artifact. The creation ancestors were furious, but the Hunyuan ancestor was very happy at this time. If it was before, facing the siege of more than a dozen creation ancestors, he could only dodge a few attacks at most, and the others needed to be taken on. But just now, he dodged the attacks of all the creation ancestors. The red gold wings, just now Li Yang and the Hunyuan ancestor met, and immediately handed them to him. Treasures like the Kunlun mirror require conditions for recognition of the master. But this red gold feather wing is specially prepared by Kaishan sect for the inheritor. After imprinting your soul, you can easily recognize the master, and there are no harsh conditions. So the Hunyuan ancestor easily recognized the master. Haha, Blood Dove ancestor, Hunlin ancestor, I'll leave first. The Hunyuan ancestor had no intention of fighting, and returning to the human race was the most important thing now. The Supreme Holy Artifact's brilliant galaxy covered a huge area, and the Hunyuan ancestor was faster in the galaxy. Thanks to Zero Eta for the 100 rewards, thank you. From the city to the strongest in the universe. Author, G. Difeng Ren. Chapter 858. The brilliant galaxy of the Supreme Holy Artifact covered an unknown area, and in the galaxy, the speed of the Hunyuan ancestor was extremely fast, but the other creation ancestors felt uncomfortable, as if they were stuck in the mud. At this time, the faces of the creation ancestors were gloomy. The plan they had made before was perfect, entangled the human Hunyuan ancestor, and killed Li Yang, who was protected in his world space, and all other masters of the human race. During the killing process, the Hunyuan ancestor might feel distressed and hand over the inheritance. After all, if he didn't hand it over, Li Yang and other masters of the human race might fall. And even if he didn't hand it over, the human Li Yang's body and clone would be killed by them, and he might die completely. Killing human Li Yang was their most important plan besides inheritance. However, at this time, the plan obviously changed drastically. The human race actually had a second supreme holy artifact. It was still a speed type 1. With this supreme holy artifact, they couldn't stop the Hunyuan ancestor for long. Human race Hunyuan, even if you have that speed type supreme holy weapon, don't even think about leaving. Fight us if you can. A series of furious voices resounded through the void, and these words tried to stimulate the Hunyuan ancestor to stay. At this time, the Hunyuan ancestor didn't care about them at all, and only wanted to leave. Originally, he was the strongest, and now he was ready to leave. Who could stop him? Damn it, the Hunyuan ancestor is too fast. We can't stop him at all. In a few minutes at most, the human race Hunyuan may completely leave the star desert. At this time, the founders of the world were a little anxious. With the two supreme holy weapons of the auxiliary type, the brilliant galaxy, and the speed type, the red and gold wings, even if the Hunyuan ancestor was only one person, they couldn't stop him at all. They could only watch the distance between them and the Hunyuan ancestor increase. Buzz. When they were anxious, in the direction of the Hunyuan ancestor's advance, a long spear suddenly attacked directly. The speed of this long spear was extremely fast, and it came to the front of the Hunyuan ancestor in an instant. Seeing this, the face of the Hunyuan ancestor, who had been relaxed, changed for the first time. Lord of the Demon Cloud Star. The Hunyuan ancestor recognized the strong man who made the move. He swung the top holy weapon sword in his hand, and then the spear was directly shattered, turned into a phantom, and disappeared. Boom! In the void, an extremely huge figure appeared. It was a huge black tree. The black tree covered the sky and the sun, like a demon god descending, covering an unknown number of areas. It's Lord of the Demon Cloud Star. Lord of the Demon Cloud Star, help stop the Hunyuan ancestor of the human race. Seeing the huge black tree, the eyes of the creation ancestors lit up and said hurriedly. Lord of the Demon Cloud Star, similar to the Lord of the Illusion Palace, is also a special life. And the strength of Lord of the Demon Cloud Star is definitely the most peak existence in the universe. He has two supreme holy weapons, attack type and speed type. And his body, the Demon Cloud Tree, has a talent domain. The binding force of that domain is at most a little weaker than the supreme holy weapon, the brilliant Star River. All in all, this Demon Cloud Star Lord is equivalent to having three supreme holy artifacts. He is the existence that many races and forces in the universe are most reluctant to provoke. Even if they usually suffer losses at the hands of the Demon Cloud Star Lord, they can only bear it and dare not retaliate. Fortunately, this Demon Cloud Star Lord is alone, and they have not met many times. At the beginning, the three who climbed the 100th level of the talent ladder were Li Yang, Yu Heng, the master of the Universe Power Alliance, and the third was the Demon Cloud Star Lord who had already become the ancestor of creation. The words of the Blood Jew ancestor and others were directly ignored by the Demon Cloud Star Lord. He looked at the Hunyuan ancestor whose face changed slightly, and a slightly sharp voice sounded, Hunyuan ancestor of the human race, if you give me the Kaishan sect inheritance, I will not stop you. After I finish reading the inheritance, I will return it to your human race. The Demon Cloud Star Lord is a special life, without any race behind him, and he doesn't care about any race, he only thinks about himself. Therefore, he is only interested in the Kaishan sect inheritance. Hearing the words of the Demon Cloud Star Lord, the Hunyuan ancestor said in a deep voice, Demon Cloud Star Lord, wait until I return to the human race, and then we will talk about the inheritance. At this time, how could he take out the inheritance of Kaishan sect and hand it over directly to the Demon Cloud Star Lord? This Demon Cloud Star Lord has a very strange temper. He turns his face when he says he will. Some strong men from some tribes want to make friends with him, go to him specifically to please him, but he kills them in return. The Hunyuan ancestor does not believe in such a strong man at all. Boom! After hearing the words of the Hunyuan ancestor, the Demon Cloud Star Lord's huge talent domain radiated, countless black lights appeared, swept through the void, and entangled with the brilliant galaxy. Afterwards, the speed of the Hunyuan ancestor slowed down significantly. For binding treasures, the binding domains between each other can obviously offset each other. The powerful binding force of the brilliant galaxy, under the Demon Cloud Star Lord's talent domain, the effect was suddenly much weaker. The speed of the other creation ancestors increased and quickly caught up. Human Hunyuan, I have no interest in going to your human race, you hand over your inheritance now. The demon Cloud Star Lord was very domineering, his sharp voice resounded through the void, and even carried an attitude that could not be questioned. If you don't hand over your inheritance, don't leave today. He, the demon Cloud Star Lord, is recognized as the most unprovoked existence in the universe. He also thinks that his strength is the best in the universe, so his words are naturally very tough. Hearing this, the Hunyuan ancestor laughed, "Ha, Demon Cloud Star Lord, today I will see what means you have to keep me. The inheritance cannot be taken out now." If it was before, the Hunyuan ancestor would still be afraid of the Demon Cloud Star Lord. But now, with the two supreme holy artifacts in hand, the Hunyuan ancestor is very confident. Boom! Boom! The battle broke out again, just as the Hunyuan ancestor thought, and even if the Demon Cloud Star Lord joined the battlefield, the battle was still in a state of balance. The Hunyuan ancestor was still getting rid of the siege of other creation ancestors, but the speed of leaving was much slower than before. Damn, the strength of this human Hunyuan is too strong. With a speed-type supreme holy artifact, his strength has increased so much. Our attacks were completely resolved by him, and we couldn't touch his world space at all. In the void, although the speed of the Hunyuan ancestor slowed down, it was still faster than most of the creation ancestors, and he could smash all attacks. The faces of the dozen or so creation ancestors who were besieging were ugly. If they couldn't touch the world space of the Hunyuan ancestor, they couldn't hurt Li Yang and others inside. Give the Hunyuan ancestor some time, he will still take the human Li Yang and others away. At this time, the Demon Cloud Star Lord also had an ugly look on his face. He thought he was the strongest in the universe, so he didn't take the human Hunyuan ancestor seriously. However, at this time, he joined forces with more than a dozen other founding ancestors to deal with the Hunyuan ancestor, but they couldn't do anything to him. The Hunyuan ancestor, who possessed two supreme holy artifacts, had completely transformed in strength. End of this chapter. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. From the City to the Strongest in the Universe. Author, G. Difeng Ren. Chapter 859. The Hunyuan ancestor, who possessed two supreme holy artifacts, had completely transformed his strength. In fact, it was normal. Sometimes a handy weapon can really transform one's strength. There is also a gap in strength between the ancestor of creation. The Hunyuan ancestor is powerful and is undoubtedly at the top of the ancestor of creation. But the human race only had the auxiliary supreme holy artifact Brilliant Star River before, which made the Hunyuan ancestor's strength unable to be truly perfected. A supreme holy artifact, placed in the hands of different ancestors of creation, exerts different power. Some can only exert half of the power, and some can exert more than half. However, the Hunyuan ancestor is the kind of top-level combat powerhouse who can release the power of the supreme holy artifact 100%, and even exert it beyond the ordinary, exerting 120% of the power. The Hunyuan ancestor is really strong. At this time, in the visual space, Li Yang could also clearly see the battle outside, and he couldn't help sighing in his heart. More than a dozen founding ancestors joined forces, but they couldn't do anything to the Hunyuan ancestor. Isn't this the pinnacle of the universe? In the future, if I become the founding ancestor, I will rely on the Kunlun mirror and even the mysterious little sword. I wonder if I can deal with more than a dozen founding ancestors. Li Yang was looking forward to it. The Kunlun mirror suppresses the soul, and the mysterious little sword is even more powerful. If Li Yang becomes the founding ancestor one day, he will no longer hide the mysterious little sword and can take it out directly. What will the battle scene between him and the founding ancestor be like then? In the void, the lord of the demon cloud saw that he couldn't do anything to the Hunyuan ancestor, so he clenched his right hand, and then a golden bead appeared in his hand. Buzz. As soon as the golden bead appeared, a strange wave spread rapidly. After the golden stone appeared, Li Yang felt that there was an inexplicable repulsive force in the world space where he was. World space, to be precise, this is a world created by a founding ancestor. It is much more powerful than the treasure of space attribute. But at this time, something unexpected happened in this world space. What happened? Li Yang's face changed slightly. Not only Li Yang and others, but also the other founders of the world, such as the Blood Dove ancestor, also changed their faces, not knowing what happened. They also felt the changes in their own world space, and even felt that there seemed to be a blocking force in the surrounding space, which completely blocked the surroundings. They, the founders of the world, seemed to be trapped in a space. Human Hunyuan, you angered me. In the void, the sharp voice of the Lord of the Demon Cloud Star said, with your strength, it is difficult for me to kill you, but the masters of your human race, don't leave. These are the price of angering me. It is indeed difficult to kill the founder of the world. In the entire universe, about 20 founders of the world were born in endless years, and no one has ever been killed by other founders of the world. At this level, the vitality is extremely strong. Even if faced with the siege of more than a dozen other founders of the world, it is difficult to die, and it will not die even if it is chased for 100 million years. Therefore, any tribe that has a founding ancestor can immediately become the top tribe in the universe. This is recognized. As the words of the Demon Cloud Star Lord fell, the Hunyuan ancestor felt that his world space had undergone a huge change. The rulers of the human race, including Li Yang, were all forcibly moved out by a force. Is this, the boundary bead? Upon noticing this change, the face of the Hunyuan ancestor finally changed suddenly. The boundary bead is a very strange treasure. Once the battle between the founding ancestors begins, no matter how big the battlefield is, it can't bear it. And the boundary bead is a huge space, a space that can trap the founding ancestor for a short time. In addition, the boundary bead has another feature, that is, it can only trap the founding ancestor. As for those in other realms, they are all not within the rules of the boundary bead and will be moved out. Boundary bead? Does the Lord of Demon Cloud have such a legendary treasure? Haha, the Hunyuan ancestor is trapped, and the human Li Yang and others are all moved out. What awaits the human Li Yang and others next is death. Knowing the boundary bead, the Demon Clan Bloodju ancestor, the Metal Clan Jinmi ancestor and others all showed ecstasy on their faces. The boundary bead was originally a treasure that trapped the creator ancestor, but now, not only the Hunyuan ancestor is trapped, but all of their creator ancestors are also trapped. They still can't kill the Hunyuan ancestor, but at this time Li Yang and Li Yang's major clones have been moved out. They can't attack Li Yang, but there are thousands of universe masters in the outside world. These universe masters only need a small part of them to attack Li Yang, which is enough to easily kill Li Yang's body and 6 clones. The Hunyuan ancestor also knew the information of the boundary bead. His face changed. When Li Yang and others were moved out, he quickly sent a voice message, Li Yang, I am now trapped by the boundary bead, if you feel danger, immediately self-destruct. At this level, in just a short moment, the Hunyuan ancestor said what he wanted to say to Li Yang. The Hunyuan ancestor was not worried. Li Yang's world tree clone is still in the human race, so Li Yang will not be in trouble. At this time, Li Yang's figure was directly moved out. Not only him, but also other masters of the human race, such as the Top Master, the Galaxy Master, and others. Boundary bead? Trapped all the ancestors of creation, Li Yang's face changed. In fact, not only Li Yang, but also the masters of other tribes all received the information from the founders of their own tribes. Are all the founders trapped in a space? The human Li Yang and others were moved out. Haha, I have always wanted to do it, but unfortunately I didn't have the chance. Now the opportunity has finally come. Let's join forces to kill the human Li Yang and all his clones. The moment Li Yang and others appeared, the masters of each tribe showed excitement in their eyes. The battle situation changed rapidly. Just now, the ancestor of Hunyuan overwhelmed more than a dozen founders of the universe. But in a blink of an eye, the situation of the entire human race suddenly became extremely dangerous. Li Yang, the situation is critical now, you hide in my space attribute treasure. At this time, the face of the Galaxy Lord beside Li Yang was full of sternness. He is a top master, but facing at least hundreds of masters at this time, he can't be an opponent. However, his strength is now the strongest in the human team. Although he is not an opponent, it is not so easy for the masters of other tribes to kill him. Li Yang took a look. At this time, there are a total of 24 masters in the human camp who have come to this talent ladder. Among them, there is only one top master, the Galaxy Master, and there are 6 masters of the second stage. As for the rest, they are all masters of ordinary strength. After the words of the Galaxy Master fell, these masters of ordinary strength all disappeared and now entered the space attribute treasure. They are the weakest among the masters. Being besieged by many masters, there is a danger of falling. At this time, there are only 7 people in the human team, including the Galaxy Master, as well as Li Yang's body and 6 clones. Thanks to Zero Eta for the 100 rewards, thank you. End of this chapter. From the city to the strongest in the universe. Author, G. Difeng Ren. Chapter 860. On the human side, there are only 14 left, 6 of whom are Li Yang's clones. Seeing that Li Yang did not move, the Galaxy Lord could not help but urge him again. Li Yang's strength is very weak in their eyes. After all, in the previous war that shook the universe, Li Yang only killed one emperor after another. Li Yang's record is only fighting against 6 masters, suppressing the Demon Snake Master of ordinary strength. As for the second stage Coition Master, Li Yang is not his opponent at all, but Coition Master can't kill him. And what is the situation now? Hundreds of masters will arrive soon, among which there must be many second stage masters, and even one top master. Li Yang can't resist a few attacks at all. Looking at the Galaxy Lord, Li Yang shook his head and said, "Galaxy Lord, I don't need to enter the treasure of space attribute." He looked at the masters who were attacking quickly from a distance. It just so happens that I have reached the bottleneck of the master realm. These alien masters are just right for me to hone my skills. Li Yang's eyes flashed with light. Fighting is more conducive to breakthroughs. So even if the strong men know there is danger, they are constantly tempering their lives. The situation is urgent. After saying this, Li Yang waved his right hand, and weapons appeared one by one, appearing in front of several strong men of the Galaxy Lord. Li Yang. Seeing that Li Yang was unwilling to hide in the space attribute treasure, the Galaxy Lord obviously wanted to say something. But their eyes were immediately attracted by the weapons that appeared in front of them. They felt the power of the weapons in front of them. Peak holy weapons. The 20 or so that appeared in front of them were all peak holy weapons. These peak holy weapons are more than the entire human race. Galaxy Lord, the battle is coming, you immediately choose the peak holy weapon that suits you. Since the alien race wants to fight, let's fight a good fight. Li Yang said directly without any nonsense. After the words fell, the Galaxy Lord and others did not say anything more. They were not hesitant people, and immediately chose the peak holy weapon that suited them. The Galaxy Lord had an attack-type peak holy weapon, and he chose 2, one for defense and one for speed. Li Yang, you are right. Since the alien race wants to fight, let's fight them well. The stern look on the face of the galaxy overlord also disappeared a lot. With his top-level overlord strength and a full set of 3 peak holy artifacts, even other top-level overlords can't be his opponent. At this time, the faces of the other second-stage overlords of the human race were not only not panicked, but also excited. They basically chose 3 peak holy artifacts. Although they are not top-level overlords, with 3 peak holy artifacts, their strength can fully reach the threshold of top-level overlords. Except that the top overlords are stronger than them, no other overlords can be their opponents. At this time, the strong men of the human race are fully armed. Just kidding, Li Yang's original body and 6 clones all got peak holy artifacts before. This time, he got 32 pieces on the talent ladder, and there are 10 pieces in the inheritance tower. Counting them, Li Yang has nearly 50 peak holy artifacts in total. His original body and 6 clones were fully armed, using a full set of peak holy weapons. Only about 20 pieces were used, and more than half were left. These were enough to arm the 7 masters of the galaxy. On Li Yang's side, the human master was fully armed. As for the other side, the masters of the alien races knew that the ancestor of creation was trapped, and many masters chose to take action. The 9 peak tribes naturally did not hesitate, and as for the other tribes, they were divided into 2 attitudes. In the universe, only the 10 peak tribes have their own ancestor of creation. Other forces, such as the Universe Power Alliance, are a union of weak tribes. They invited the ancestor of the mixed blue to be the leader of their alliance. In fact, this is more of a relationship of interest. If possible, the ancestor of the mixed blue may abandon them at any time, so most of them dare not offend the human race. After all, if they offended, the human race would chase them madly, and the ancestor of the mixed blue could not go to war with the human race for them. The worst result would even kick them out of the alliance. In addition to the Cosmic Power Alliance, the alliance formed by powerful tribes such as Kongli Jiaolong and Lising Beast is called Seeing Zhou Alliance. Each tribe in this alliance is extremely powerful, such as Kongli Jiaolong tribe, Lising Beast tribe, etc. There are at least several masters in the tribe, and some even have nearly 10 masters. It can be said that if their tribe gives birth to a founding ancestor, they can immediately become the 11th peak tribe. At this time, the weak tribes of the Cosmic Power Alliance did not dare to deal with the human race, but the Seeing Zhou Alliance did. The Kongli Jiaolong tribe, one by one, gathered beside the top master, Longjio Lord, and asked, "Longjio, what should we do now? Should we attack humans? Fight for inheritance? Now that the human Hunyuan ancestor is trapped, it is a good time to attack human Li Yang. The inheritance is on Li Yang. Maybe if you kill human Li Yang, you can get the inheritance." Their Kongli Jiaolong tribe relies on inheritance. As long as a founding ancestor is born, they will have nothing to fear. The ancestor of creation cannot die. This is the consensus of the universe. The most powerful ancestor of creation cannot kill the weakest ancestor of creation. Take action. The Dragon Domain Lord said angrily, "Human Li Yang dared to breed my clones and enter my clan and the ancestral dragon pool. This is a shame for my Kongli Jiaolong clan. Today we will kill human Li Yang here." The Kongli Jiaolong clan was extremely proud and thought they were the first clan in the universe, but they were fooled by a human. They also treated this human as a treasure, spent all kinds of resources, and carefully cultivated him. In the end, they became a complete joke. In the eyes of the Dragon Domain Lord, this is a great shame for the Kongli Jiaolong clan. This shame must be washed away with the life of human Li Yang. Although some of the other Kongli Jiaolong lords were unwilling to conflict with the human race, and even had other ideas, seeing what the Dragon Domain Lord said, they had to put away other ideas in their hearts and join the team to deal with the human race. The Kongli Jiaolong clan chose to take action, but the Lising Beast clan, which also suffered humiliation, did not take any action. Lei Ling, Should we take action? The lords gathered around Lei Ling, the most powerful lord of the Thunder Star Beast clan, and asked. Lei Ling Lord glanced at Li Yang in the distance, then shook his head and said, "No, even if we take action this time, we may not be able to really kill the human Li Yang. After all, he may have other clones hiding.